I took a well-paying job as a night guard. I received a strange set of rules. Part 1. Okay, a lot of crazy shit has happened. Let me fill you in. I stood in front of the door, tapping my feet anxiously. I checked my watch for the third time that minute. Still 8:31. I sighed. The door opening was not something I wanted to miss. However, it wasn't exactly a relaxing experience. I had spent the last 20 minutes ensuring I was prepared for the chill that was apparently on the way. There was no way I would intentionally blow off something from the rules again, not after what happened on the stairs. The incident didn't seem like it had happened this year, much less today. The memories were twisted and warped, the exact details of the experience eluding my grasp as I struggled to recall what had happened 20 minutes ago. Now, I'm not a computer, but I have a decently good memory. So for me to forget something that happened less than a half hour ago was unsettling to say the least. I shook my head as if to dislodge the creeping anxiety that was steadily growing inside me. Checking my watch again. 8:32. As if waiting for my inevitable check, the door swung open without a sound. I mean completely silently, as if a ghostly hand had quieted it. A cold breeze began drifting into the house, not freezing, but still very cold. I quickly ran to the stairs and climbed them, jumping whenever the old house creaked or groaned in the wind. Sorry, I didn't mention it was stormy outside. Vicious wind, pounding rain, the whole deal. An occasional flash of lightning lit up the sky as bright as a minute supernova. Let me interrupt here. I read lots of people in the comments saying I didn't feed Jericho. What the fuck was I supposed to feed her? It's not like I walk around with Friskies in my pocket. The only food I had was a half-eaten granola bar, riddled with goddamn chocolate. I definitely did not need my only hope of survival to drop dead from eating a granola bar. Okay, anyway, back to my fabulous bathroom adventure. I stood in the bathroom and, not for the first time, checked that the candles were still lit. Suddenly, I stopped. I had forgotten the gun. Now, the gun probably wouldn't do much against whatever demonic beings haunted this place, but it would give my morale a boost. I started shooting guns when I was 13 and hadn't stopped until I moved to a place that didn't allow you to shoot your guns, unless it was an emergency. So the familiar weight of the revolver in my hand would do wonders to set my nerves at ease. The door to the bathroom opened with ease, making only the slightest noise as I stepped through the threshold and into the hallway. When I first looked at the rules, they seemed to contradict themselves. How would I get to the 4th floor without entering the 3rd? However, I soon realized that there was no problem. The 3rd floor didn't exist. On the outside, the mansion seemed like it had 4 floors, but the 2nd floor went right up to the 4th and the 4th up to the roof. The floors were even conveniently numbered. The numbers were clumsily painted in red. Each number painted about 5 feet above the 3rd step, always above the 3rd step. 1, 2, 4. I continued down the hall and reached the stairs, stopping to shine my light at the number above the 3rd step. 3. I sat in the bathroom, no gun, no snacks, no Jericho. Unless she was on the same floor as me, which would be great, however unlikely that was. My options were extremely limited. The foremost one in my mind was to hunker down in the bathroom and wait out my shift. Just as the thought formed in my mind, Sarah appeared on the floor next to me. I somehow kept myself from having a heart attack. She looked no different than when I had seen her this morning, staring at me with tired eyes. "Jake," she said, "I have something for you." "Are you a ghost?" I stuttered. "That's beside the point." "Okay, what is the point?" "I like you, Jake, so I'm doing you a favor." She reached into her pocket and pulled out the gun. "Here," she said, handing it to me. "Thanks, but what the fuck? What do you mean? All this bullshit, the disappearing floor, the rules, the stairs, all of it." She took a deep breath, like she was preparing for a long speech. "This whole forest is a gateway to hell. The mansion included. One day, the whole fucking thing just appeared out of nowhere." She paused for a second, then continued. "If you look closely, you can see where the Real Forest ends. People usually don't. They come in here, get lost, and they never come out. Their bodies disappear at dawn and reappear at dusk. There are a couple dozen of them. Why does this job exist? Surely anyone who tried to break in would die before they reached the front door. Every time the candles go out, the radius of the gateway increases. If the candles are left out for a long time, it increases further. I can't relight them, so I have to wait for someone else to do it. If the candles go out and you die, they'll be out long enough for the gateway to extend out to the town." "What town?" "Redacted," she said, pointing in the opposite direction from which I had come. "Small place, only maybe 200 people live there. The point is, Jake, I can't afford to have another night guard die, so try not to die, okay? And with those words she was gone, vanishing as quickly as she had appeared. Fuck, if I died, 200 people would suddenly be living in a portal to hell. I sat there for the majority of my shift, maybe 7 hours, browsing through Reddit on my phone. I also wrote a letter to my family, in case I didn't make it, and a separate one to my girlfriend. Basically, I was leaving all my earthly possessions to her, and saying sorry for being an idiot and dying. It was hard writing a letter about my death when I was alive and well, but I knew the chances of me remaining that way until 5 a.m. were slim. I mostly just sat there in a stupor, staring at the wall. Then something happened that made me jump up on my feet. Voices were coming from below me. I couldn't quite make out what they were saying. It sounded like English, but as soon as I heard them, I forgot what it was I heard. It was exceedingly frustrating. Sitting there trying to remember what they said, I finally got up, grabbed the gun, and dashed out into the hall. The hallway was way too cold. It seemed the bathroom had been protected from the chill by me closing the door and the space heater. I walked over to the window at the end of the hall. I suddenly heard the voices growing, louder, more excited. I didn't stop. I needed fresh air, and something told me it was warmer outside than inside. I threw open the window and heard the talking stop. I did not, like any sensible person would have, shut the window. Instead, I stuck my head out and looked down. It was then I realized that the second-floor balcony was directly below me. I tried to avert my eyes, but it was too late. What I saw was nothing. Suddenly, I remembered what the voices were saying. Behind you, over and over again. Warm breath tickled my neck, ragged and quick. I wasted no time. Steeling myself, I turned and shot 3 rounds directly where the head would have been in a human. Fuck. I remember thinking to myself, I hope I'm not being stalked by a gnome. It was then I got a glimpse of the creature, tall and thin. Its arms were unnaturally long, and its face, God, its face was hideous. Imagine a sledgehammer head. Then add about 30 mouths. The mouths were everywhere, purple tongues lolling out of them, teeth freshly stained with gore. It screeched, a high-pitched and echoing noise, because, I realized, it was screaming out of more than one mouth. It advanced, swinging those long arms as it approached me. I fired another round, this time at the thing's foot. It moved with inhuman speed, snatching the bullet of the air with its elongated arm. Shit. Shit, shit, shit. I murmured I was boned, utterly fucked. Unless, turning, I jumped out the window, hitting the balcony with a loud crack. Pain shot up my leg. I tried to get up, but my vision wavered and threatened to go dark. The voices started up again, low and muffled, as if trying to find me. The pain was too great. I knew there was nothing I could do. I would faint, and they would find my emaciated corpse tomorrow, torn apart by the thing. Just as I would have lost consciousness, Sarah's voice sounded behind me. Wow, Jake, you suck at not dying. I spun around, causing a fresh wave of pain in my ankle. Well, I said, almost smiling despite the situation. I'm not dead yet, however. I could use a little help. She laughed, a beautiful sound, especially after the horror of that night. Her face changed, hardening, as she said sharply, You are going to get up. And no, I can't. Yes, you can, and you will, she continued. Because, Jake, if you don't, everyone in that town will die. All because you couldn't move your ass a few meters. That hardened my resolve. Ignoring the pain, I dragged myself over to the balcony door and attempted to open it. Locked. Grimacing, I instead shot 2 rounds through the glass. It shattered easily, and I draped my jacket against the jagged edges so I wouldn't shred my stomach dragging myself over it. Glancing back, I realized that the sun was just peeking over the tips of the trees. My shift was almost over. Dragging myself over the glass was not easy or fun, but when I entered the hall, it wasn't hard to get to the stairs, and from the stairs to the front door. Only when I arrived at the front door did I feel safe. It was then that I checked my phone. It had 2 long cracks spiderwebbing across the screen, but other than that it was okay. I turned it on and dialed 911. 911, what is your emergency? I fell and broke my ankle. It hurts bad. What is your current location? I pulled up the website from this morning and looked at the address. Redacted, I responded. It's near, name of town. Okay. Hang on. An ambulance is on the way. I hung up, opening the door and crawling onto the porch. Just then, another car pulled into the lot. It was a small car painted red. pulled up and a young teenager got out. He took one look at me, face whitening, then pulled out his phone. "No need," I shouted. "I already called." He put it away and quickly jogged over, stopping to look mistrustfully at the stairs, then cautiously scaling them. "What happened?" he asked. I tripped." "No need. I've seen the rules." I sighed in relief, then whispered, "It had long arms and too many mouths." "Oh fuck, did it get you?" Just then, an ambulance pulled up. I dimly remember being loaded into it. Then, I lost consciousness. I woke up in a hospital. The nurses said I had been in a coma for 5 days. My ankle was healing badly. I might have a limp for the rest of my life. The doctor told me it was because I had moved it so much after the injury. I almost told him I wouldn't be here if I hadn't moved, but I didn't want to convince him, again, that nobody else had any part in the accident. Luckily, I got a call that informed me my medical bills would be paid in full, and, if I chose to return, $1,000 cash would be given to me at the beginning of my next shift. I have been thinking, long and hard, and I have to go back. Not for the money, but for the lives of the townspeople. I don't think of myself as a hero, but I got out of the hospital a day ago, and I went to stay in the town. I don't think I could possibly have them all killed just to save my sorry ass. If you don't hear back from me, well, I didn't survive my second shift.